Just as the coalition lines up a net zero 2050 target, the UN's shifted the goalposts. That really matters? 2030.
The world is on a catastrophic pathway to 2.7 degrees of heating. Anything above 1.5 degrees would be a disaster.
According to their analysis, current national emissions reduction pledges will deliver a 16% increase on 2010 levels by 2030. To actually avert catastrophe, it's a 45% reduction or bust.
It is a wake-up call.
Luckily, there's no I in massive emissions reductions. See? The captain might be struggling to influence the contest, but some of Team Australia's less heralded role players are playing a blinder.
What is a blinder?
Well, Tassie's set to legislate a 2030 net zero target, and New South Wales is aiming to halve its emissions by then too. The Business Council wants that to be a national target, and with the Nats dragging their heels, even the Farmers Federation's getting impatient.
We need some certainty, like the rest of the business community.
Today, Twiggy turned the screw as well.
All of us need heavy carbon emitting companies to go green as soon as possible. Getting towards a 40 to 50% reduction on 2020 emissions by 2030 is going to have that really strong economic push for our country.
According to Monash Uni-affiliated think tank Climate Works, ambitious targets set by the states and territories have already put that goal within reach.
Massive credit to the boys.
Of course, it could be a lot easier if the federal government led from the front.
It's like having an Olympics without medals. Remove the uncertainty, nominate a target for 2030 and let Australia crack on and go for it.
But as long as your team's winning, it doesn't really matter who scores the goals, right?
Well, Bryn O'Brien is Executive Director of the Australasian Centre for Corporate Responsibility, and she joins us now. Bryn, our federal leaders seem reluctant to increase our 2030 ambitions. If the states pull us over the line, does it really matter?
So it does. Unfortunately, the federal government have some responsibilities that the state governments don't. They include releasing new offshore oil and gas acreages, giving some crucial approvals for the expansion of coal mines, for example. The other thing that the feds do that the states don't is lead international negotiations, trade negotiations. We have, the federal government still seeking to sell our fossil fuels to countries across the Asian region. So regardless of the targets that the states set, if we do keep expanding fossil fuels, those targets won't be met. We really do need federal leadership at this moment in time.
In practical terms, Bryn, what do we need to do between now and 2030?
We need economy-wide collaboration from business, government, trade unions, workers. Workers need to be front and centre in being supported in our transitioning economy. We need to electrify everything from transportation to homes and heating. We need immediately to stop fossil fuel subsidies, all fossil fuel subsidies. We need to throw the gas-fired recovery in the bin. There are challenges in cement, in fertilisers, in steel making, but we must start addressing them.
If nothing changes, if we don't address them, what will 2050 look like?
Well, we will be left behind. Our economy will be left behind. The rest of the world is moving. Our trading partners are starting to look at putting taxes and tariffs on the importation of Australian goods and services because we don't have the appropriate policies in place. But really, we will just miss out on getting ahead of the huge opportunities that Australia has to be a global leader in renewable energy and decarbonisation technology.
Bryn, the worms really turn when it comes to climate action. Outside of the coalition, are you still seeing any significant resistance?
Yeah, look, we are, and we are seeing it in the oil and gas sector and their lobbyists. I mean, these companies have names. Their boards of directors have names. Their lobbyists have names. It is a handful of people in industry and a handful of people in the National Party and a Prime Minister who's unwilling or unable to stare them down that are holding our entire country of 25 million people to ransom at this moment in time, and not only our current population, but also the prosperity of future generations, and it just has to stop.
Bryn, really appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Hey there, thanks for watching. Carrie loves to hear from viewers. Please forward your feedback to Carrie's email, perth/girl/21@hotmail.com, and be sure to subscribe. That wasn't Carrie you heard off screen.